It's to explain which team I work on. I'm part of the notice use team. It's a traffic department. What weight is your drone?
Am I required to answer that question? I'm not required to. No, I haven't.
Forgive me for not knowing the action section.
Okay, well obviously if you arrested me for failing to give you my details when I know I haven't committed an offence.
This episode is sponsored by Brett Chamberlain. So make sure you check out his channel through the link below and give him a subscribe for the solid work he does. In this video, Brett runs into a situation that happens far too often in policing, where an officer assumes something must be wrong before actually knowing what the law says. While Brett is legally flying his drone near a traffic police training center, an officer approaches him and openly admits he doesn't know the drone laws. Instead of leaving it there, the officer starts Googling rules mid-conversation and still manages to misunderstand them. It's a perfect example of how authority quickly falls apart when it isn't backed by real knowledge. And it also shows how staying calm and sticking to the facts can completely dismantle unfair suspicion every single time.
Okay, so I'm quoting to you from the Civil Aviation Authority website. It says here, do not fly closer to people than 50 metres. Well, you were certainly within 50 metres of me when I stood in the middle of the DVSA check site.
Right.
Okay, so I suspect you of then breaching that regulation, so I'm asking for your details.
Right, so which class of drone does that refer to?
What weight is your drone?
Am I required to answer that question? I'm not required to assist you in your investigation. You've now just looked on the CAA website.
Yes.
And found that drones that are below 250 grams,
okay,
you're allowed to fly closer to people than 50 metres and over their heads. So therefore you don't suspect me of committing an offence anymore, do you?
Well, I'm not trying to trick you. You've come to a traffic officer's course. There's a number of officers in there doing some traffic work.
Right.
You're flying a drone over our heads. It's distracting us from our work, and it's potentially a safety issue. So I've come out to discuss that with you.
Right.
And the first thing you want to do is to film me and refuse to give me any details.
The first thing you want to do is accuse me of committing an offence and start making up laws and saying that I have to give you my details when you know I...
The officer reads a single line from the CAA website and treats it like a universal rule, and that's where everything goes wrong. He starts talking about a 50-meter rule that applies to standard drones, not sub-250-gram drones like the one Brett is flying. That distinction isn't minor, it's the entire foundation of how drone regulations work. Lighter drones have fewer restrictions because they pose far less risk. The officer's argument about being distracted is even weaker because distraction isn't a legal standard at all. It's just a personal feeling, and feelings don't give police the right to demand personal details. Brett isn't blocking roads, interfering with traffic, or flying in a restricted area. He's simply doing something the law clearly allows.
I asked your name, you said no.
Yep.
You then asked me quite understandably, do I have to? I've said, I suspect you may have committed an offence. You said, what offence? So I'm now looking at, if you want specific action section, then I'll do what I can to try and find that for you.
Well, do you want me to help you out with that? I'm not committing an offence.
Okay, because what's your understanding of...
Because you've just read the rules out and I'm within those rules.
The weight of your drone?
Well, I'm telling you that it is within the rules. You saw how small it was. So unless you reasonably suspect that it's heavier than that...
Okay, keep at least 150 metres away from residential, commercial and industrial...
What class of drone's that?
Well, I'm
telling you, it's ones that are above 250 grams. The one I've got, you're allowed to fly wherever you like.
Let me rephrase it, because you sound like you know some of it.
I do.
What's the understanding of the regulations for flying your drone? What do you believe it is?
Well, I'm allowed to fly my drone over there. Unless you've got specific agreements with the Civil Aviation Authority to say that I'm not allowed to fly my drone over.
Brett is completely justified in pushing back, especially when the officer admits he doesn't even know how much the drone weighs, yet still tries to apply stricter rules to it. That makes no sense legally. Brett doesn't have to prove his drone is under 250 grams. The burden is on the officer to have a real, lawful reason to believe it isn't, and he clearly doesn't. When Brett mentions agreements with certain locations, he's referring to rare and specific cases where official arrangements create restricted airspace, like around airports, prisons, or sensitive government sites. These aren't things officers can guess or invent on the spot. They must be officially documented, publicly accessible, and legally enforceable. If such a restriction existed there, it would be clearly recorded and easy to confirm.
I'll tell you what I'll do, because we have a team of drone operators within the police.
Yep.
I will try and get hold of one of them. I'll say I've got a chap here who's not being very forthcoming with anything at all.
I am. I've explained all the rules to you.
You won't even tell me who you are.
Well, why should I tell you who I am? So I know I'm not committing an offence.
You haven't given me any rules. You've just said I'm allowed to fly my drone.
Yeah.
You haven't quoted any rules.
Well, I have. I've explained to you, when you've read up those rules, I've explained to you that I know I am allowed to fly there because there's no legislation that says that I'm not allowed to fly there.
Okay. I'm happy to admit to you, sir, my specialism is traffic, so
Right.
I'm operating outside of my area of expertise.
Right.
But
Well, I'm helping you out here, aren't I, by telling you what the rules are.
No, we'll get our colleagues
okay,
who
and
know the rules.
forgive me for saying this, but I can't let people go and just disappear off and not give any details. If I suspect an offence has taken place and you're just refusing me details and you're telling me that you haven't broken the law, because it may be that you have.
Maybe what that I have.
It may be that you have.
Yeah,
I suspect you may have committed an offence.
Well, I haven't.
Forgive me for not knowing the action section.
Okay, well, obviously, if you arrested me for failing to give you my details when I know I haven't committed an offence.
The officer openly admits he doesn't know the drone laws, doesn't know which act applies, and doesn't know which section he's relying on, yet still insists he can demand Brett's personal details because he thinks an offense might have occurred. That's not how reasonable suspicion works. You can't start with a hunch and then hope to figure out the law later to justify it. Either there's a clear legal basis for demanding someone's details, or there isn't. When an officer admits he doesn't know the law he's trying to enforce, but continues to pressure someone anyway, it becomes obvious what's really going on. This isn't about enforcing the law. It's about an officer feeling uncomfortable after realizing the person he stopped understands the law better than he does and not wanting to lose face.
Well, it's quite an interesting site and I want to film it. I know that I'm within the law to do that and I'm quite entitled to do it.
And
You've come out here threatening me that if I don't give you my details I could be arrested.
I never said that.
Well, that is the case though, isn't it? You say you suspected me of...
I've never threatened. The first person to mention arrest was you.
No, you
All
said
I
that you
was-
suspect I might have committed an offence, so therefore I have to give you my details. Now, if you suspect I've committed an offence and I won't give you my details, what's your next course of action?
Well, I'm going to get some advice. I've then said,
The
"Look,
arrest,
I'll be
wouldn't
honest
it?
with you, sir. You're speaking to a traffic officer about something to do with drones. It's outside
Right.
my area of expertise.
You've looked on the CEA website. I've explained the rules to you. I've shown you that it's a 249 gram drone. So now you know I'm not doing anything wrong, perfectly within the rules, so I can take off again and carry on with what I was doing, can't I?
It's distracting me from my work. It's distracting colleagues. They're looking up at what might be buzzing, what's buzzing just above their heads, whilst they're trying to work around 13-ton cranes, which may suddenly move or have a defect. So I'm not trying to be awkward. I just want my colleagues to be safe. I want me to be safe.
But I just think it's important that if we're allowed to do something, the public, we should be able to do it, and we shouldn't be able to have like stormtroopers coming out telling us that we're not allowed to do it.
Do you think I'm a stormtrooper?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, you guys, the way you're dressed, you know, with all your stab vests and you're kind of like your badges. Sorry,
I have to identify myself as a police officer. Otherwise,
yeah, but what's this? That's not part of the uniform, is it?
It's to explain which team I work on. I'm part of the no excuse team. It's a traffic department within Exeter Road Policing.
Okay.
It is, if you want to check Twitter or Facebook, it is a...
Is that provided by the force, that badge, or is that something you had to source yourself?
That's something I source myself, I'll be honest with you.
So, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that the uniform policy says that you're not allowed to decorate your uniform with badges that aren't issued by the police.
Police officers are only allowed to wear badges, patches, and insignia that are officially issued or explicitly approved by their force. This isn't about nitpicking. It's about neutrality, professionalism, and public trust. When an officer admits he personally bought and added a badge to his uniform, that's a serious issue, because the uniform represents the state and the law, not personal beliefs. The thin blue line symbol is a perfect example of why this rule exists, because it carries a strong political and ideological meaning, whether the officer acknowledges it or not. It's widely seen as promoting an us versus them mindset, suggesting separation from the community. Police forces have repeatedly made it clear that officers cannot display symbols that imply personal bias, political views, or special loyalties while on duty.
Going well away from the reasons why I came out here to have a chat with you in the first place.
Okay.
You seem to have many questions about the police. I came out here to try and discuss with you about the drone.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to admit that I need some specialist advice about the drone.
Well, I'll give you a hand, right? So as long as it's below 250 grams, you can fly it where you like, as long as it isn't within a restricted zone. So in Exeter, for example, you've got the airport and you're not allowed to fly in that zone, but the drone itself won't allow you to fly in the Exeter zone. Okay. It sort of like starts from the police station, actually, heading towards the airport, and it's quite a large area that you're not allowed to fly in. You're not allowed to snoop through people's bedroom windows and infringe on their privacy.
No, I would hope not.
As long as it's below 250 grams, you're pretty much allowed to fly where you like.
Most modern consumer drones, especially popular DJI models, have built-in geofencing technology that automatically checks your location against official airspace restrictions, like airports, prisons, and government buildings. If you're in a restricted area, the drone simply won't take off or won't even power up. You physically cannot accidentally fly into protected airspace because the software prevents it. So when Brett says, "The drone won't let me fly there," he isn't being arrogant or clever. He's explaining how the aircraft is designed to work. The officer isn't dealing with someone exploiting loopholes. He's dealing with technology that already enforces the rules before a pilot can even break them.
Okay, and that phrase there, pretty much allowed to fly where you like. The devil could sometimes be in the details, so that's what
There's things like, you know, where there's official secrets acts, like well, army bases and things like that.
I wouldn't say the work we're doing in there is secret, so I don't think that applies. It's just simply...
Or GCHQ, for example.
Okay.
Things like that probably got laws to say you're not allowed to fly drones over them.
I mean, if you want to know what's going on in there, it's no secret.
Well, am I allowed in for a little tour then?
I'm happy to have a chat with you. It's just a bit awkward when this feels like you're doing an official interview with me.
Well, if I'm looking over there, there's not much to see. I've already got a picture of that.
Right, there we go. So the colleague there had a chat with the guys who work for the police and who operate drones.
Yep.
I'm told that there's no offence. But okay, I will say to you though, it is a little bit distracting.
Yeah.
And sort of purely on a safety point of view, if you could avoid going over people who might be doing work that might require them a level of concentration.
What ends this situation isn't relief, but confirmation of what was obvious from the start. Brett never needed permission or approval because his drone flight was legal the entire time. The officer's suspicion didn't disappear because he suddenly learned the law. It disappeared because someone competent was finally consulted. This highlights a recurring issue in policing, where officers on the street have authority without fully understanding the laws they're enforcing, while those with actual expertise sit back at the office. The officer felt confident enough to question Brett, imply wrongdoing, and demand personal details while openly admitting he didn't understand drone regulations. That imbalance is exactly where unnecessary confrontations begin. Brett didn't escape anything or trick anyone. He stayed calm and waited for clarity. The law never changed, only the officer's confidence did. That's the real lesson. If what you're doing is legal, you don't need to argue or escalate. You let uncertainty collapse under its own weight. Brett didn't win by being louder or smarter. He won because the law was clear, settled, and on his side the entire time. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps support independent content like this. And don't forget to check out Brett Chamberlain's channel through the link in the description. Thanks for watching.